Welcome everyone and happy Friday. Thanks for tuning in to the Penn GSE live webinar series today. The Penn GSE live series is hosted by the Penn GSE Center for Professional Learning. The Center for Professional Learning designs and delivers professional learning opportunities that support educators, leaders, policymakers, entrepreneurs, and other professionals to deepen their knowledge, build their networks, and grow their careers. One such opportunity that will be beginning soon is the 21st Century Teaching and Learning virtual series for educators. This series covers a variety of topics and strategies to help you become a more thoughtful and innovative teacher, such as teaching with simulations and backwards planning for social emotional learning. You can learn more about and register for the 21st Century Teaching and Learning series at the link on your screen. Another upcoming opportunity is the Social Emotional Teaching and Learning Virtual Institute. This program prepares educators, administrators, and leaders to support healthy and equity-oriented SEL in their classrooms, schools, and organizations. You can learn more and register for the Social Emotional Teaching and Learning Institute on our Center for Professional Learning website that will be in the chat shortly. Today's webinar will be hosted by Taylor Hausberg. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you, Alana. And hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Penn GSE live webinar series. My name is Taylor Hausberg, and I work with the Center for Professional Learning based at the University of Pennsylvania's Graduate School of Education. We are fortunate to have Dr. Charru Sharma here with us today to speak about the process and promise of using creative drama and mindfulness in the classroom. Dr. Sharma is a Fulbright Visiting Scholar here at Penn GSE and an Associate Professor of Human Development and Childhood Studies at the University of Delhi, which of course is located in the capital of India in Southeast Asia. Her work and research focuses on integrating creative drama, meditation, and self-reflection techniques to enhance the social emotional development of elementary school children and improve the mental well-being of teachers and school administrators. Dr. Sharma has taken this work internationally, conducting workshops with teachers from Brazil and England to South Africa and Hong Kong. Her publications include a book that she edited entitled Drama and Theater with Children, International Perspectives. She is also a certified instructor for yogasanas, pranayam, and meditation. Charru, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you for that generous introduction and your kind words. I'm so glad to be here today.
As are we. So in the next 30 minutes, I'll begin by asking Dr. Sharma a few questions. And if you, our listeners, have any questions that come up as we're talking, please type them in the Q&A. We'll get to a few of your questions in the last 10 minutes or so. And also, if you have any tech issues, please type those in the Q&A or chat as well. So, Charru, I'd like to start off by just knowing a little bit about your personal and professional path that brought you to working and researching in this field of creative drama and mindfulness.
Yeah, thank you, Taylor. Yeah, it's interesting. I did my master's in human development and childhood studies from University of Delhi in India. And during the first year, after the exams, I was looking out for a summer job, and it so happened that I became an observer and evaluator of the theater workshops that were being conducted by the Theater and Education Company, which is part of the National School of Drama in New Delhi. And it was quite fascinating for me because the theater workshops were typically being conducted for children of different age groups, beginning from 8 until 17. And they were being conducted by theater experts. And I was there looking at the workshops from the human development perspective And I sort of evaluated that. And the year after that, when I completed my master's, I happened to apply for a position of an actor teacher at the same school. And I got that position, and it was so fascinating. It was this entire new world for me, full of creativity and, new skills to be learned. And as a matter of fact, I got a hands-on training on the job, and it was like a world opening out to me, and also sort of transforming. I could see a shift within my own self of what I knew I was as a person to what, all the gifts that I was endowed with. So that sort of was interesting to me, to the fact that I was saying, oh, okay, so there's a whole lot of things within me which I was not aware of in terms of creativity or, skills in terms of problem solving, critical thinking, imagination. The power of imagination is so strong. And I could also see that in children while we were doing workshops with children and training the teachers and taking place to schools and communities and the villages. And I mean, it was like traveling all over the country with the work that we were doing. And I could see that children would blossom. I could see there was a shift in the teachers while, we were training the teachers. So every individual, be it youth or people working in the communities also, there was something which would open up. And it was like, this shift from being here to here. And that was so fascinating for me. It sounds like magic. I mean, it felt like magic. And I was like, I need to delve more into it. And that's how my journey to research and know more kind of began. And a year after that, I started teaching at the University of Delhi. So it's been about 26 years I've been teaching there. However, the idea of research was interesting enough to sort of, push me in the direction of this, like, how does this happen? How does this shift happen, right? And yeah, well, a part of the journey was also sort of, not being able to find an advisor in an area which was so new. It was so challenging and innovative that yeah, I mean, I couldn't find, and I was like knocking doors here and there. I remember I went to the School of Education, and with a notepad, I wrote about me and the research I want to do. And I slipped those notes into the lockers of the professors, giving my contact information and letting them know, if you're interested, could you please contact me at this number? And I got 2 phone calls, which was which is interesting for me. And I sort of, worked in that direction. However, when I went in, I worked with one of the professors from the School of Education, and I had a presentation in front of the Board of Research Studies. I went there, and the board was like, we are not sure if we can enroll you because you do not have a master's in education. And I was like, I do have a master's in human development. I do have a bachelor's in education, but that kind of was a point where I was frustrated, and it felt like, now what do I do? But thereafter, because, my passion, my grit, the tenacity with which I was like, I have to do this. This is my purpose. I mean, it was really, because it really pushed me. Something from within me was pushing me in that direction. And it so worked out that I enrolled in the School of Psychology. And so that was one roadblock, one step further. However, there were no books, there was no documentation of, the work done in India based on drama and education. So I looked up all the libraries nationally, and then I got an opportunity to go to the International Drama and Education Congress in Ottawa in 2003. And that sort of opened up a whole new world for me of practitioners and researchers from all over the world, and who were generous enough to share their researches. I remember I was at the OAC library in Toronto, photocopying from the books, because that was like, oh my God, this is the space where I can get so much stuff, I can read and do the review of literature. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, with all the roadblocks, one after the other, and I kept going on and on and on. I did this research for 2.5 years in the schools, in 2 schools in Delhi, with an intervention program, and there was a non-intervention group. And it turned out to be a pioneering research in India, which was well appreciated across borders. and very valuable. And it opened up a whole new world for, researchers henceforth who were interested in doing similar work. So that is the academic part of the story. And the spiritual part of the story began when I was like about 10 or 11 years old, and I would sit in the school bus from school to home. And I was typically thinking about, what is my purpose? Why am I born? So am I born to just sort of be in the school, and then I grow up, I go to college, I get a job, I get married, I have kids, I grow old and I die? And it didn't make sense to me at all. So fortunately, I was in the company of different spiritual teachers at different points in my life. And really, even this morning when I was thinking about how each of the components in my life sort of shaped me to come to a place where I know my purpose in life is to deliver this work of drama and mindfulness and compassion to children in the communities, training the teachers. So everything collectively framed this point in my life. And I'm so grateful that it did.
That is such a beautiful journey, Charru, and so complex with so many twists and turns. And so I am thankful too that it brought you to where you are, and it is a very innovative space. Like you mentioned, I know you said you had trouble finding professors who even really understood what this work was. So I do want to jump in there and just clarify. So you've characterized your work as creative drama, right? Research and work in the field of creative drama. So what do you mean by creative drama? And perhaps can you give some examples of activities that you facilitated in this space?
Sure, yes. So when I say creative drama, it actually is a term which was coined by the Children's Theatre Association of America in 1977. And before that, there was a lot of work in England which was done, and by Peter Slate, for example, who was the first person who talked about child drama, and a lot of work thereafter by Dorothy Heathcote and Brian Heap. Brian Heap is pretty contemporary, and a lot of other people emerged from England. And the definition of drama, which is called creative drama, it could be called process drama, but what I use is that creative drama is an improvisational, non-exhibitional, process-centered form of drama in which participants are guided by a leader to imagine, enact, and reflect upon human experiences. So this really, it has a focus on the process where the participants, they co-create, they explore together in this drama space, which is a space which they can trust, a space which is non-judgmental, a space where they can be themselves. They can just be without having, a fear of being labeled or judged. And some people, they have a little confusion in terms of theater and drama. So I would, I would like to say that theater is more about the participants performing for an audience. There are actors, there are props, there are costumes, there's music, there's a script that they follow. However, in drama, there isn't anything which is set. So it's just like flowing, with the use of theater games. There's an inventory which includes all of that, like theater games, body movements, relaxation, sound and speech activities, rhythm, voice, mime, improvisations. So yeah, it all sort of, collectively creates that space of drama. While when I focus, I also work on different domains, which I delineate as areas of self, family, school, community, and society. So while, all these activities which are sort of under this larger umbrella of drama are used, so children are really exploring these 4 domains. And I mean, it's a multi-layered process, I would say, where, you're engaging the participants in a bunch of activities, and they're exploring all of that, and they're being and also being mindful of the needs of each of the child at an individual level, and also the needs of the group as a collective unit. And having said that, it's also, the social emotional learning aspects are the underlying outcomes of this process with an interface to their own healing. Really, it's something, it's like a leading edge process, which is healing, which is transformative. And it includes, a space which is created with experiencing, learning through experience. As I talk, I would like to share about Confucius, who said, I hear, I forget, I see, I remember, I do, I understand. So that really resonates with me, in the sense that, children are doing and they're creating, they're there, not as passive members in the classroom interaction, but really being active in that space.
Mm-hmm. So you talked a little bit about some of the incredible and resonant shifts that you've seen in students, in teachers, in school cultures, even in yourself as a researcher involved and observing all of this happen. I'm curious, if there's a particular story or example that comes to mind as you think about these powerful outcomes that it has on everyone's social emotional growth.
Yeah, I mean, I would have a lot of examples, because I've been using drama for almost like 30 years. So one of the examples, which one of the many, I might share a couple depending on the time. Yeah, when I began my research, so I remember one of those initial classes, we did this name game activity where children had to just speak up their name and sort of do a gesture with it. And when they did that, oh, I'm sorry. When they did that, one of the girls, I mean, it was new for them. It was new for them to do something like this. And as a matter of fact, one of the girls who was very quiet, and she would not speak up her name. She barely whispered her name. And gradually, when she was part of the process for 2.5 years, I remember the intervention continued. And over a period of time, as she grew up, she actually became a theater artist and an actor teacher. And wow. I mean, this was like a huge shift, which I see, from where she was to what really happened in her life. And likewise, there was, I did a lot of work with the less privileged children who would, I would do summer workshops with them, and students coming from different NGOs and living in slums. So slums are like, highly populated, densely packed housing systems in India. And they are less privileged in many ways. So this, I remember after one of the workshops, a couple of months later, this one of the girls, a student, she called me up and she addressed me as an elder sister. That's how, in Indian tradition, they often address a teacher or a facilitator as Didi. She called me, she's pretty excited, and she said, she's got a job at McDonald's. She went for an interview, she cleared an interview, and she got a job in McDonald's. And this was like a life-changing experience for her, not only her, for her entire family, I would say. Which really shifted something hugely in her, and the amount of confidence, the communication abilities, and how creative she was. I think all of those things really shaped up. And it's just that it's not that she did not have those abilities or skills before the workshops. Everyone has it. I mean, we all are so uniquely gifted. It's just how, you kind of get aware of those things that are part of your personality, and they're sort of hidden. It could be hidden because of the conditioning. It could be hidden because, that's how the education system is like. It sort of makes you subservient and not really explore your inner talents and abilities. Yeah, so, and I also remember working with the children of snake charmers in Delhi, and they were, those little kids had the confidence and ability to actually travel approximately 3 hours one way to come meet me after the workshops, was over. And just because there was something that touched their core and had sort of helped them in some way, maybe blossom or, just be in that space of being joyful.
Yeah, as I'm listening to you, Charru, the question that's on my mind is, these shifts and these examples are remarkable, that you're seeing and that you're telling us about, and just so beautiful. And I'm wondering, what is it about creative drama that allows for these sorts of shifts? And, as I'm listening to you, it sounds like there's a lot, actually. One perhaps being this opportunity to get in touch with these gifts that we have within us that we just don't necessarily have an opportunity to express. Another being, the non-judgmental atmosphere of these sorts of experiences, being allowed to express ourselves in whatever ways we want or don't even know that we want. Is that right, Charru? Is that your understanding of how this elicits these sort of outcomes as well?
Yes, yes, Taylor, you're so right. It definitely happens when, there's nobody to judge you, when you know that you can be your own self, and your own self essentially is creative, is beautiful, is love, is all those positive qualities that we were born with, until the education system, until the society sort of wanted all that to be closed.
Right.
And we sort of got disconnected with our true reality. And when I talk also in terms of mindfulness, so the definition of mindfulness also is, it's the awareness that emerges through paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally to things as they are. So I think, that's where I see a blend between drama and mindfulness, because that's the space that, we create in a drama workshop, for example. And that's how even the non-judgmental, just being there and being present fully, and exploring, our own inner realities in terms of, when I talk about self, for example, really getting aware of who we are, who am I, or the senses, the talents, the abilities that a child has. And drama, as I mentioned, it's process centered and it's reflection based, which ignites the mental capacities of students or participants as they get connected with their inner core, their emotions, their thoughts, their feelings and senses. Sensory awareness is essentially, a prime focus of my work with students, which sort of facilitates them into the mode of awareness. So, activities like nature walk or mindfully listening to all the sounds using their auditory senses, and then sharing in the group. And, sharing also is in a big way, it's so helpful. They're listening, they're being present, they're, talking mindfully. And it could be something like walking out in nature, and touching the trunk of the tree or the bark of the tree, the leaves, dirt, twigs. What does that feel like? Even for that matter, the surfaces in a classroom, for example, the walls, the desks, the chairs, etc. How do they relate to those tactile experiences? And it is fascinating how the bodily senses can actually lead us with ease into the realm of mindfulness. And SEL and mindfulness practices can really serve as a bridge to sort of, towards transformational learning that cultivates social emotional resilience, and it expands the consciousness and enhances creative abilities. And it also helps, in a way, I would say, provides holistic and humane education. And I was looking up, So we don't have CASEL here, the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, which I came to know when I was here. I've come here. So it talks about the 5 core SEL competences with cognitive, affective, behavioral, and equity dimensions of self-awareness. Now that is already a part of the drama workshops that I do. Self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsibility, and responsible ethical decision-making. So, I mean, this all is embedded in a process which is play, which is fun, which children want to engage in, right? And even in terms of trust, I think that's so important, which gets developed in the process while children are participating in a drama workshop, for example.
Well, Charru, time flies in talking to you and just listening to these stories. So maybe in just 30 seconds, I would love to hear from you. You know, what advice do you have for educators who are interested in bringing creative drama and mindfulness into their classrooms and schools?
I would strongly recommend that teachers have a taste of drama and mindfulness themselves to be able to find value in it. And in my own journey, like I had, I could experience it myself. So it's really when they witness it and they are aware of the innate qualities, and just the fact that each creation is unique and gifted, and we are here to acknowledge and celebrate the uniqueness of each of us. So with that premise, with an open heart and mind, and really getting into that space of experiencing it and just marinating with that experience and see how beautifully it can work and serve your purpose as an educator.
Well, thank you so much, Charru, for those words of wisdom and just for all of your time and wisdom. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you to the Penn GSE Center for Professional Learning for supporting this event. And thank you to all of you who tuned in to listen to this conversation. We at the Center for Professional Learning love to hear what you think about these conversations. So we invite you to fill out a very short feedback form. The link is on the slide, and we will also email it to you. And you can check out other opportunities offered by our center at gsc.upenn.edu/academics/professional-learning. We hope to see you again soon, and you as well, Dr. Sharma. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taylor, and for the entire group. It was such a delight to be here. Thank you.